It's finally happening. You've been working hard for that promotion. It's most likely going to give you a big bump up in pay and a title that you've been chasing for years now. If only someone high up in the corporate ladder, some senior exec perhaps, if they could directly see the work that you were doing. Now, since we are talking about a hypothetical scenario, let's take it one step further. Imagine you have a chance to give a presentation, a high stakes, life changing presentation to seal the deal in front of all the right people. How do you approach it? No pressure. Seriously. Ask yourself this question. How do you approach it? If you're like most people, you will instantly fire up that PowerPoint presentation. Don't do that. See, the thing is, software forces linear thinking. It's terrible for creativity and for brainstorming. You just go one slide after the next and then the next. It's mechanical thinking. I've delivered hundreds of lectures and high stakes presentations over the last 5 years in my career. I even had a chance to give my own TEDx talk on creativity, and here is how I would approach this situation. I'm about to say something that sounds really, really silly. Are you ready for it? I would start by changing up my usual environment. I'd go sit in my balcony, maybe my terrace, maybe change the room that I'm in. Then I'd turn off my email and my cell phone. And then I'd collect a bunch of stationery and paper, maybe whiteboards and sticky notes. And then I would start brainstorming. Giving a presentation that's so high stakes in nature, it's not something that we do usually. It happens a finite number of times in our life. So why approach it the same way that we do work every single day of our lives? Why approach it the same way that I deliver the rest of my boring presentations? It's very important that I shake myself up and I shake myself out of the rut that I'm in. That is the first thing I would do. The second thing I would do is think about how a fisherman would approach this situation. When a fisherman goes out into sea, their goal is to spread the net far and wide. They want to spread the net far and wide so that they can get as big a catch as possible. At this stage, the fisherman isn't thinking of getting the biggest possible fish. He's thinking about getting the biggest possible catch. Quantity, not quality. My focus would be to generate as many ideas as possible first and then get to the filtering stage later. And here is how I would generate the large number of ideas that I just spoke about. First, I'd gather existing content. I don't have to start from scratch. I've probably delivered presentations on a similar topic before, or somebody else at least would have. So I just dig into my archives. I just dig into reports, presentations, articles, stuff that's already out there. I'd collect it all together and get it ready for work to be done. Remember, this is not plagiarism. Remember that everything that has to be said has already been said, and the only job that we have is to say it better. And once I've collected all of this information, I would build on top of it with my thoughts. The next step is what very few people do. This is what separates the professionals, the real obsessive people, from the ordinary lot. And it's important to be obsessive. I mean obsessive in a good sense, which is creating content by taking risks, by letting your intuition guide you, by letting your thoughts and your mind run free. Say something weird, quirky, funny, silly. Experiment. Only when you experiment do you land on something that is memorable. The goal is to be memorable, not to play it safe. I do all of this alone first. Brainstorm alone. I know it's intimidating to approach a blank piece of paper when you have no thoughts, you're just staring at it blank. It's painful, it's physically painful to sit there and see that no ideas are coming out of you. But I have to start somewhere. I'd write down words, the initial, very basic, rudimentary thoughts that are just streaming across my mind. I'd write those down and riff off of that. Let my mind move in random directions. Most people don't do this because it is uncomfortable. Once I'm done brainstorming alone, I would brainstorm with a group. When you work with a group, when you work with more number of people, you get more gems to choose from. And someone else's idea may even spark a creative idea of your own that didn't exist before. Once all of this is done, once I'm done brainstorming in a group, I would go back to brainstorming alone one last time. I'd take the seeds that came from the rapid fire discussion with the group and sit with those. Let those simmer and do a round of thinking of my own. This is what would give my latent ideas. Stuff that I have in my mind, and I know that I have in my mind, but I can't articulate it yet. These are latent thoughts. This will give my latent ideas a chance to fully develop. It's not rocket science really. It's a simple framework. But hang on. When I say simple, I don't mean comfortable or easy. In fact, it's the opposite of easy. It is meant to cause you a little bit of discomfort when you embrace this framework. But it's one that works all the time. It has for me for the last 5 years. It has for a lot of professional speakers that I've worked with. And it's one that could also potentially work for you. If you found any of what I've said useful, do consider subscribing to my channel and hitting like on this video, because it's free for you, but it really helps this channel out. And if you're somebody who's starting a new job, either at the same company that you've been working for or for a different company altogether, and if you're wondering how to make the best impression in the first 30 days at this new job, here are 8 things I wish I did when I started off. I made a video about it. I'm going to tag it at the end of this video, so make sure to check it out.